Today, after 2 years in our relationship, I was wearing a sari for the first time to meet him. The goal was to surprise him, but what I saw when I arrived surprised me even more. My boyfriend was proposing to my best friend right in front of me. It felt like someone was stabbing my heart. I was just as shocked as my best friend, who was even more stunned. None of us had ever imagined something like this happening. Mumu said in disbelief, "What are you saying, brother?" Surav looked down at the ground and said, "I am saying the truth. I love you." Mumu's surprise seemed to increase even more. She asked in astonishment, "But you love Nayla, and Nayla is your girlfriend." Surav continued looking down and said, "I don't love her. My feelings for her were infatuation, not love. I have realized that I love you." Hearing this, I became numb and angry. Yet I calmed myself and said, "Surav, what are you saying? Are you joking with me? I don't like this kind of joke at all." Surav looked at me and said, "I am not joking. I am serious. I love Mumu. She is my love." I looked at him with pity and asked, "Then what am I?" Surav made a small face and said, "You were an emotion. You were my emotion." I shouted, "What, Surav? After 2 years, you think I was just your emotion? I told you I loved you, and you told me you loved me. So why are you saying now that you don't love me?" Surav tried to stop me, saying, "Speak softly. Why are you shouting? Everyone is watching us." I got even angrier and shouted louder. "Why should I speak softly? Let everyone see." Surav said, "Look, Nayla, you are being melodramatic. I am not deceiving you. I am clearly saying that I don't love you. 2 years ago, my feelings were just emotions, and so were yours. You will soon realize that you were just operating on emotion. You'll forget everything in a few days." I was stunned by Surav's words. What did he just say? I was his emotion? I would forget him? I said angrily, "You know what? You are right. I did make decisions based on emotions. That's why I loved someone like you." Surav shouted, "What do you mean by someone like me?" We started arguing, and at one point Surav said, "You are just like your mother." He said many more hurtful things and even commented on my appearance. I was stunned and looked at him with tearful eyes. Surav kept speaking, while I remained silent, looking at him. How had he changed so much? He used to say I was unique and innocent, but now he compared me to my mother. I put my ego aside and tried to explain to him that I loved him, and even if he didn't love me, it was okay. But he pushed me and said, "You don't understand that I don't love you." As I was about to fall from the push, someone caught me. I looked up and saw Mumu. Mumu, angry, said to Surav, "After 2 years of love, you are calling her just an emotion. How can I accept that I am not your emotion?" Surav came up to Mumu and said, "I truly love you. Besides, I didn't have much of a relationship with Nayla. I didn't even properly touch her hand in these 2 years. So with you, I couldn't stand listening to them anymore." I interrupted and said, "Take care," and started to leave. No matter how many times I tried to explain, they didn't listen. My heart was aching. I couldn't describe the pain I felt. Tears flowed uncontrollably, like a river's current. I loved Surav so much, and he loved me too, but what happened suddenly? Why did he do this? It was incredibly painful. Since childhood, I had little interaction with boys and rarely talked to anyone. My life had been quite isolated because of my mother. When I was 4, my mother left, leaving my father and me alone. I cried a lot for my mother, waiting day and night for her return. My father seemed to shut himself off. Though he checked on me at first, he gradually stopped. I grew up on my own. Days passed, and at night, I would only cry myself to sleep, with no one to check on me. I understood the pain of being a child without a mother. My father worked, came home at 8 in the evening, and found me asleep. He would gently touch my head and go to bed. He never asked, "Have you eaten?" nor did he feed me. I ate whatever I could with my small hands. My father cooked in the morning, and that was what I had. He rarely spoke to me, always staying alone. I suffered a lot. I would look at the sky and cry to the stars, asking, "Why is my fate so bad?" When I was around 8 or 10, I learned that my mother had left with her former lover. Initially, I didn't understand, but later I did. From then on, I stopped waiting for my mother. Accustomed to the whispers of people around me, I adjusted to my surroundings. When I entered the 8th grade, I began to like Surav a lot. Surav was then in college, and we would often meet after school. He was from our area, but I didn't know him because I was always confined at home. I ended up in an unintended relationship with Surav, but only Mumu and I knew about it. Mumu is my best friend, and we are in the same class. She's very sociable, and our friendship has been since class 1. I would always talk about Surav with her. Who knew Surav would end up loving her? I walked the entire way home crying. Many people looked at me on the way. I went straight to my room, locked the door, and threw my bag on the floor. I looked at myself in the mirror and wondered what Mumu had that I didn't. Mumu is a bit fairer, but I am taller. Her lips are thin, but my eyes are sharp. Our figures are quite similar. So why did he love Mumu? I took off the mirror and smashed it. Seeing my reflection in the broken mirror, I cried like a mad person. Sitting on the floor, my heart felt like it was bursting from the pain, something I wasn't sure I could ever explain. Why is separation so painful? Will I always suffer this much? I don't know what happened to me. I got up, took 10 to 12 pills from a medicine bottle, and swallowed them. I didn't know what kind of medicine it was. Even then, I couldn't find peace in my mind. I started cutting my hands with the shards of the broken mirror on the floor. The floor was soon covered in blood. When I realized I had no strength left, I let out a loud scream. "Father!" As my vision blurred, I saw my father rushing towards me. It seemed like it was my final moments, but even in that painful moment, I managed to smile at him. To be continued.